What's up everyone, I'm Tenian, welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to review the new Godzilla series, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I just want to preface by saying that I haven't always been the biggest fan of the American MonsterVerse films. I've found them all a bit of a hit or miss, a mixed bag. The 2014 Godzilla was visually impressive. It had serious pacing issues for me. On the positive, I loved its gritty, grounded, naturalistic tone. I thought the concept creature design was amazing. I loved Godzilla's American redesign. It was followed up by Kong Skull Island, and Kong Skull Island for me is still like the peak of the MonsterVerse movies. I thought it was just a great blend of that naturalistic vibe that you got in the 2014 Godzilla, but bringing in more of a fantastical, adventurous flavor to it. And then you had Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was underwhelming for me. I found that film a little too self important, a little too in love with itself. And then followed up by Godzilla vs. Kong, which was more enjoyable, but I found it instantly disposable and forgettable, honestly. There are a number of puzzle pieces from the movies that this show has set itself the task of putting together for us and really giving more clarity and insight into the world of Godzilla, the world of the MonsterVerse, and Monarch as an organization and how it operates. And I think it was a smart choice to really put more focus on the characters, flesh out the human drama. And Kurt Russell, I love that guy. He plays this military guy, Lee Shaw. He also has his son Wyatt Russell playing a younger version of Lee Shaw in the 1950s. And that was another thing that really helped me immerse myself in the series, because I really bought into the fact that this was a younger version of Kurt Russell. There were enough physical characteristics, resemblances between Kurt Russell and his son to really sell that kind of continuity. The show also isn't structured as a linear narrative. It cuts between the era of 2015 and then also has an entire backstory set in the 1950s. They also bring back John Goodman's character, Bill Randa from Kong Skull Island. They also prominently feature a younger version of Bill Randa's character, who is played by a different actor, Anders Holm. And for me, the recasting of Bill Randa didn't work for me nearly as well as the Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell casting. I could not buy into the fact that Anders Holm was a younger version of John Goodman. I mean, it wasn't only due to the fact that they didn't look like each other. They also seemed like two different characters, like their characterizations were different. And so I just couldn't be sold on that. We're also introduced to a younger generation of characters. You have the character of Kate, played by Anna Sawai, and she was a former school teacher who was in San Francisco when Godzilla attacked, and particularly she's suffering from PTSD, having terrifying flashbacks, particularly to that iconic scene in the 2014 movie. One of the best scenes in the movie, or if not for me, the best scene on the Golden Gate Bridge when Godzilla attacks. And so the show takes us back to that whole scene and gives us another perspective on it, which was pretty fascinating. Then you have the character of Kentaro, played by Ren Watabe. His character is based in Tokyo, who Kate eventually encounters, and then they have a whole entire backstory to them with a legacy going back to Monarch in the 1950s. Then you have the character of May, a former employee of Apex Cybernetics. And of course, if you've seen Godzilla vs. Kong, you know Apex Cybernetics as the organization behind the creation of Mechagodzilla. This show stands out by bringing attention to certain racial dynamics at play. Mari Yamamoto plays Kiko, this scientist who was key to the founding of Monarch as an organization. Her character is discriminated against in the show as a woman and also as a Japanese woman, trying to seek like scientific credibility as a scientist and credibility in general as a career woman, and in a man's game. And so that makes her character arc particularly resonant, and for me, one of the most like resonating character arcs of the show. That said, she's involved in this love triangle between Wyatt Russell's character, Lee Shaw, the younger Lee Shaw, and Anders Holm, the younger Bill Ronda's character. And I just didn't feel the chemistry between the actors. They were good in their respective performances, but in terms of their dynamic and rapport, I just never really bought into the love triangle. The sexual tension was just so subdued for the most part. On the one hand, I like that they devote entire episodes and portions of entire episodes to flesh out this very personal drama happening between the characters rather than just focusing on putting the puzzle pieces together and exposition. Let's get on to the next piece of the puzzle. This show gives breadth and space to really flesh out like the personal histories of its characters, but some of those subplots just didn't emotionally resonate for me and just didn't leave an imprint or impact. And particularly the romantic subplots in the show just honestly didn't come off for me. The human drama didn't always hit for me, but there were moments that really resonated. And my favorite episode probably is episode 5, The Way Out. The reason that episode really stands out for me is because it involves the characters going into the wreckage, the ruins of what was San Francisco. And at this point, San Francisco has been marked as a red zone, has been walled off, is being heavily guarded and monitored by the government and the military, almost completely been abandoned. This dystopian environment now. There's no infrastructure, everything has crumbled, there's looting, crime happening. It has this post-apocalyptic vibe and tone to it, and anyone who's watched my channel and other videos will know that, I really love and vibe with movies, novels, and shows that have that post-apocalyptic vibe. I just find it fascinating when you give and provide a fictionalized representation of what would society look like in the aftermath of its destruction. How would the government and the human race pick up the pieces, and what kind of order would be built out of that? How would such a situation test our moral compass, our ethics? What means would we employ or utilize to restore order and balance, to the world? What lengths and nefarious lengths would we go to accomplish that? So I love that episode. Yeah, in the end, I think this show is a step in the right direction. It does a lot of good world building. The creature design, again, as in all of the MonsterVerse films, is very, very good. All the creatures are very well rendered when they show up. And I also think the show does a fine job of maintaining the stark, minimalist, naturalistic tone of that 2014 Godzilla movie, which tonally I prefer that. I like this MonsterVerse series of films to have more of a grounded approach, and it just makes me accept the world and accept the fantastical events happening more if I somewhat believe it and it's grounded, it feels lived in. I think if it gets too cartoony or fantastic, that's when I'm on the brink of jumping ship and just saying, oh, well, I can kind of take it or leave it. It's kind of hollow or rings hollow to me. But this show didn't ring hollow to me. It had substance to it, more substance than I expected in a Kaiju show, and particularly an American Godzilla movie or show. And Kurt Russell, he's the man. So hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't, or if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll be making more videos soon, and doing another segment with my brother in our segment after our screen talk. We'll be putting out another one of those soon too, so you can look forward to that. But be well, and I'll see you soon here.